Can you tell me the difference between each set of twins? Probably not, because the difference is here in the brain. Schizophrenia is a disease of the brain that causes a person to have a distorted sense of reality, meaning that they have trouble discerning what is real and what is just in their head. We're going to talk about how schizophrenia affects the brain and how it affects how the person works inside and out, and how it affects the family and genealogy. According to uiowa.edu, schizophrenia causes a loss of brain tissue or gray matter throughout time, use of antipsychosis meds, and episodes. Each episode causes a flare-up which damages the tissue, so it can no longer be used. And then in 2008, there was a study that showed that the antipsychosis medicines that they were using to treat schizophrenia also caused a loss of gray matter, which means we don't quite have a way to treat this anymore. And just having the disease itself wears on the brain, causing even more brain tissue to be lost. Also, the ventricles, which is where your cerebral fluid is held, absorbs in your brain, and it's done more slowly with people with schizophrenia, so the ventricles get enlarged and press on the frontal lobes, and the hippocampus, causing everything that is there to be affected, like all of the skills, such as the ability to regulate emotions, and their judgment and their impulse control is kind of not quite there, depending on if they have DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. And according to the NIH, this disease affects everything but the hippocampus and the frontal lobes control, and it also does motor function, and there's this thing with some people with schizophrenia that if they are touched in their arm or by anywhere, it gets frozen and it doesn't move for a period of time. And we all have these random thoughts that just pop in our head, and they're really weird, but we just brush them off. But these thoughts become real in these person's minds. And it could be anywhere from thinking there's a bug on their skin to thinking that they are famous or they're going to be like abducted by aliens. And it just is really a scary thing for them. And finally, one cause of schizophrenia is genetics, meaning it can be hereditary. But the most likely person to get it is identical twins. It's a 48% chance. And even though it is hereditary, there's only 1% of the population that has it in the U.S., and that's about 3.5 million. But besides genes, it can still affect the family. It can be a very scary thing for the person with the disease and the family, and they might not know how to handle it. And people with schizophrenia have been shown to step away from the family, so it's like losing a loved one. And to conclude, schizophrenia, to put it basically, is losing touch with reality, but on a major scale with major side effects, causing loss of brain tissue, how the person works in their motor functions, and how it affects everyone they hold close.